Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I'm going to discuss one of the SQL interview question, that is the types of subquery in SQL. So we are familiar with the subquery. Subquery is the nested query, right? And if you want to write the subquery, so how we can write the subquery, we will see where we can write the subquery and different types of subqueries we will discuss in this video, right? So just consider that I have a table in my database like employee, and this is like department. Okay, so employee table, obviously each employee is associated with the departments, and then department table has the department ID and department name only, right? So if we see the different types of subqueries, so first is scalar subquery, a subquery that returns a single value. Okay, so let's say you may want to return a single value from a query, but that query is a nested query or subquery. So let's see how we can write the subquery on the basis of this. So let me use the notepad here to write the queries. Right, let me close these and okay. So here we will write our subquery. So my requirement is that I wanted to return a single value. Meaning I would like to write a query which will return a single value. Single value on the basis of obviously, so if you want to return a single value from any specific query, meaning from the select statement or in a where clause. Okay. So what we will do is we will write a query here. So I will say my requirement is that I wanted to bring the names and the department name into this query. Okay. So I will say select, and the name of the column is name from the employee. Obviously, I will say from employee. This is what my simple query to bring the employee name. But my next requirement is that I wanted to bring up the department name associated with this employee. And this is what we can do on the basis of department ID, because department ID is a common thing or a common column or common field between two tables, right? So this is the column that we can use to find the relationship, and the same thing you can request from here. So if I put the comma, and here I will use the subquery. Okay, so subquery again I will write select. Then what I want to bring is, let's say, DEPT, department name. So I will write department name. Okay, then from department table, right? So everything inside this bracket, inside this round bracket, is nothing but a subquery, and this query is going to return us a single value, but on the basis of what? So here we have a department ID in employee, we have department ID in a department table. So on the basis of that, so here we are requesting a department name from the department. Then I will put the condition where department underscore ID is equal to, now the outer table we are referencing here. Outer table we are referencing here because employee is the table which is outer table, right? Meaning that this is not coming the comparison purpose. Here department ID we will consider from the employee table. So to give the condition, I will say employee dot department ID. Okay. So what this query will does for me, if you look here, so this query will give me the department name. This query will give me the department name on the basis of department ID, meaning which name here it should return, the subquery return is completely depends on the employee department ID, right? And this is how we can write the subquery. That query is called scalar query because this query is going to return us a single value. which is a department name, right? And then you can use alias for this as department name if you want to use alias, right? So this is how we can use. This is my sub query. This query is going to return as a single value. You may want to write the subquery in the where clause also. So there also you will be able to. But here the problem is that we want to bring the department name associated with the employee ID, and obviously each of the employee name is associated with the department ID. So on the basis of department ID, we are bringing up the department name in this query. That's why to simplify our queries, I can say the sub queries are required. Right. The first type of subquery we discuss. Now let's discuss the next type of subquery. That is single row. Okay. So here, if your subquery returns a single row with one or more columns, then we can say that the subquery is nothing but single row subquery, right? So which is very similar to the this kind of query the way we have written here. Now let's say we may wants to find out. We may wants to find out the name of employee from the specific department. Okay, my requirement is that let me say I wanted to bring the name of employee from the specific department. So this query will give me the name of employee from all the department. And then if I use the same in where clause, where department ID is equals to. Here again, we are going to return as the department. So I will write the subquery here as a select. And then what he wants to bring, I wants to bring the department ID from departments table. Okay. And then where meaning again, you are supposed to specify for which department you want to bring up the department ID. So I will say where department name is equals to HR. Single quotation or double quotation, it depends how you use, or it depends on the completely RDBMS. Right. So now if you look here, this is again my subquery, and this query returns me a single row for the department ID. The query which we have seen earlier, it was returning a value that is directly we were returning the value, meaning if you write the subquery to return the value without any comparison, so we will say that that is a scalar value or scalar subquery. But if you use the subquery using comparison operator, meaning in where clause, so that kind of query is called single row subquery. So with single row subquery we can use with the all the types of operators: greater than, less than, greater than is equal to, less than is equal to, not is equal to. All the operators are supported with this, right? So this is the example of single row subquery. Now next is a multi-row subquery. Okay, in some cases there may be a chances that you may get the multiple rows. Okay, multiple rows from the subquery. So in that case, what we can do is, okay, so just consider that the department ID from the, or based on the location. So location and department ID are not directly associated with each other. So I may have the location wise departments. Okay. And in that case, okay. So maybe we can define the third table as an location. Okay, so let me open the Excel. Our first table is employee. Okay, so here I will say employee. Our second table is department, and let's say our third table is location. Okay, location is associated with department, meaning the department wise we will maintain the location IDs. Okay, so here I will say employee ID, employee name, and then simple is department ID. Okay, so this is how our first table is, for example. So now if I say 1, 2, 3, and department employee name is A, B, see, this is what my name. Then department ID is, let's say, 1, 2, 1. Okay. Then I will copy this department. Okay. Here department ID can be duplicated because primary table is employee ID. Employee ID cannot be duplicated in that table. So here I can remove this and I can say department name as first department is for department ID is equal to 1, meaning HR, and second department is IT. Okay. So now location. Again, I will add a location here as a 1, 1. Okay. And now if I say location, we can have the multiple locations, right? Locations 1, 1. So here I will see the location name and New York. Okay, for example, New York. Let's consider this is as a Pune, this is as a Pune. Okay, even this is fine. So now, if I use this, okay, if I use the location name, okay, if I use the location name, so by both the department, if I try to find out the uh, department IDs or department name based on the location, where the location is equal to 1, so it will give me the 2 rows of data that is for HR and IT, right? And in that case, the problem is, meaning this will return a multiple rows. And how to handle the multiple rows? So whenever you deal with the multi-row subquery, that can be used. Okay, the single row subquery can be used using this less than, greater than, is equals to, then less than is equals to, then okay. So kind of operators you can use with single row subquery. With multi row subquery, you can use in operator, any operator, and all operators. So all these are logical operators. Okay. So all these operators are logical operators to check the conditions. Okay. So if I use this, okay, let's say I wanted to bring the name of the employee here. So what I will do, I will say name, select name from employee. This is what my table. Okay, this is fine. My next requirement is that I wanted to find out the name of the employee on the basis of location. So where we cannot have the direct relationship between location and employee. So it is based on the department, right? So department will comes in a picture. So where I will say department, I need to bring the department ID. Department ID is equals to, right? Now if I write the subquery here, okay. So if I simply write the subquery here as a select, then department ID, what I see for the comparison purpose, what we have is department ID. And I wanted to bring the department ID from the department table, from the department table where location, where location is equals to. or here I just say location ID. Location ID is equals to. Okay, this statement is not sufficient at this moment. Why? Meaning here again we need to use the one more subquery. Why? Because we know the location name, we don't know the location ID. So where location ID? On the basis of location ID, we are going to bring the department ID. On the basis of department ID, we are going to bring the employee name. This is what the dependency happens. So here I will say where, again I will say select location ID from location table. Okay, where this is the location, not location. Okay, location where location location name is equal, and then here you can put the name. Okay, in the location you can say the location name. So here you can put the name of the location as a Pune. Once you write this, what it will do for the Pune location, how many location IDs are there? One. Okay, it is fine. Okay, let me say this, and this is Bangalore, for example. Now, on the basis of location name, it will give us the location ID as a one. It will come here for what the location ID, what is the department ID? So 1 and 2. So here, this query will return two rows, right? Department ID, two department ID, 1 and 2. So this is nothing but your multi-row subquery. And subquery, this subquery cannot be used because here it uses, meaning here, okay, here inside this it is fine. So we can say that this is a single row subquery. For the Pune location, it will return a single row, right? But here we have more than one row. So in that case, you cannot use only is equal to, less than, greater than operators for the comparison purpose. So in that case, you can use in operator or any operator or all operator based on the requirement, right? So all will never work in this case because in is going to work, and in meaning any of the department matches, it will bring the name of that employee, right? So in operator and any operator is best suited for this. So this is nothing but multi-row subquery, right? Now, next is correlated subquery. Okay. So now let's understand what is the meaning of correlated subquery. Any query that references a column from outer query. Okay. So this type of subquery is executed once for the each row processed by the outer query, right? So this is how it works. So now in this case, even I can use the real-time demo here, even, or we can create the one more table for the salary, and then we can bring up the data. Okay, so let me say this. Okay, let's add one more table here. So for employee, obviously location, once we are done, then we will deal with the salary. So salary comes in a picture like this based on the employee ID, obviously employee ID. Then employee name not required. So I will say salary and is equal to rand between. This is the formula I'm using. So I will say 20,000 to 50,000. So we have a control. Right. So this is what my salary for 3 employees. This is what my salary for 3 employees. So very easily we will get the details about the salary. Or maybe, okay, what I can do is, instead of increasing the table, I will add this there. Okay. And what it will does, it will help me to reduce the number of tables. Okay. Salary we will trim. We will keep the salary here. Okay. This is what the salary of employee. Now let's say, okay. Now let's say my requirement is that we have a department and I wanted to see. Okay. I wanted to see the employee. Okay. Employee whose average salary, meaning whose salary is greater than the average salary of department. So for one employee and the one department ID, okay, this is what the two salaries we have. If we take the average and average, so this will become something like this. And I wanted to find out the name of the employee whose salary is greater than or higher than the department's average salary. This is what my query. Okay. So what we can do is we can write the query to do this. Right. So let me say here, let's keep the example in aside, and then we will write the query. So that will help you to understand how it works. So first of all, my requirement is that I wanted to bring the name of the employee from employee. Okay. And then I would like to bring the salary also. Okay. So this is what my requirement. So here I will return these two rows, but but the condition is that where the employee salary, meaning the salary must be greater than the average salary of okay. So here again I will say select and then average salary of select average of salary average of salary average of salary from employee. Okay. So in same query, what I'm trying to do is I am trying to use the same table. So in this case, okay, so our database will get confused or database engine gets confused. So I will designate this as, or I will use alias as a E1 and E2. E1 is referred for the outer query. This is my subquery because I am using the select statement once again inside this query. Okay. So now this is what my statement. Name and salary will be returned from the E1 and average of the salary is taken from the E2, but obviously two different instances of the database we are creating here. Right. So here I will say E1. Then again here I will say E1 dot name, E1 dot salary, because alias we used, so we should use the same alias for the entire query. Now here I'm going to use the E2 dot salary, meaning average salary. I'm going to find out, right? So average of E2 dot salary from this, and where condition comes in a picture, where E1 dot or E2 dot, obviously this is a second query, subquery. So E2 dot department ID is equals to E1 dot department ID, right? So here what is happening, if you look, so E1 table is used in the subquery. E1 table is used in the subquery, right? So because See, in subquery, outer query we will refer as, meaning this is the external query we will refer as an outer query, the inner query we will refer as a subquery. So here we are using a column from the outer query in subquery. So that kind of subquery is referred as a correlated subquery. A subquery that refers to the column from the outer query. This is what nothing but our subquery. Okay, to solve this kind of problems, obviously, this kind of correlated subqueries are used whenever you have to do the calculation in this way. Okay. Now, non-correlated subquery. Next type of subquery is non-correlated subquery. A subquery that is independent of the outer query. Okay. So we already written something like this to find out the name of the employee. Okay. From employees table where the department ID is equal to, and then we write the department ID and we bring the department ID on the basis of department name. Right. So there, that kind of queries are referred here. Okay, same department ID is equal to select department from the departments where department name is equal to HR. So here, if you look, subquery is completely independent, meaning there is no direct reference of the external query or outer query into subquery. So this type of subquery is referred as a non-correlated subquery. So we have written this non-correlated subquery multiple times. Right. Then in inline view, so you can have this subquery in from clause also. Okay, so we can write the subquery in from clause in the joins also. Okay. Okay. To join the data from two different tables. So if I say this is what the example, select department name and employee count. Department name wise, I want employee count. Okay, from the department as a D. And D from the this is department table or the query from the department is outer for me. Now I'm joining the same department. And then I will take the select employee ID, count of employee ID, then count as a count of rows as a employee count from the employees. Obviously, the department will not give us the, meaning department table will not give us the count of employees. So we need to bring the count of employees. We need to bring the count of employees by department name. So by department name from the employee table using group by. So this is what it here. And then on the see this join will happen on the basis of department ID because department ID is the common between these two. So now you will say that why we wrote the query in this way, why? Because see, the employee table cannot give us the department name. So here we need a department name and then employee count. So what we will do is we will take the employee count from the employee table and then we will join the table. Meaning see, joining a table, meaning we are using the subquery in join clause, and join clause is a part of the from statement. So this type of query we will refer as an inline view subquery. Okay. Nested query, sometime before we saw the example of location, right? Location. So here to bring the employee name on the basis of location, location name. So we used departmental subquery, and inside that department subquery, we used another subquery for the location. And that is the example of nested subquery. Subquery inside another subquery. So one subquery is not sufficient to get the desired result. That's why. Okay, so you can have multiple select statement inside the another select statement. Okay, then there is something called exist subquery. So what it will does? Okay, so exist subquery is used, or exist operator is used to check whether the existence of rows in subquery. If the existence of rows is available in the subquery, in that case, it will return the records from the outer query. Otherwise, it is not going to return the records from the outer query. Okay, so this is how it works. Again, this is pretty much simple, but you cannot use exist with the comparison purpose. It is just to check or to test for the existence of rows in subquery. Okay, so instead of in where clause, instead of is equal to, greater than, in, any, all kind of operators. So if you use exist and if you write the subquery, so that will fetch the record. If it returns false, it will not fetch the record from the outer query. The meaning, let's understood the meaning of this exist and all. So here I'm bringing this employee name from the employee table, where exist, I directly wrote this exist. And then if I say select one, meaning if select one, when this one will get returned from the department, where the department ID is equal to employee.department ID. Right? If the department ID from the department table and employee table is matching, and that name of the department is HR, then and then only it will return the one. And one, if this exists, see the one here as a output, so it will say, okay, this is true, we have a records where from the subquery. In that case, it will return the names of all the, okay, it is not going to filter anything, it will return all the names of employees. This is what you need to understood. So this is all about the types of subqueries in SQL. So this is again one of the interesting interviews SQL question. So I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for the watching video. Have a nice day.